Welcome, this is Nathan and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a scenario where Denmark forms an empire. Now, I know, I said I was going to be doing the empire series alphabetically, but, the next country after Angola was Antigua and Barbuda. No offense, I don't really know if I can give that an empire, and also, okay. The problem with the Caribbean island nations is they're going to be very repetitive. It's going to be the same thing over and over again for each one. Like St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Vincent, Barbuda, Grenada, they're all going to be the exact same. They're going to take over all the island nations, attack Trinidad and Tobago, take over Dominican Republic and Haiti, take over Jamaica. It's going to be the exact same thing over and over again. Maybe like we do them at the end of this series, but Denmark is our empire for today. The second to final Nordic country, not including Greenland. Do I include Greenland? I'm not sure. So, we're taking a look at where Denmark forms an empire. Now, Denmark, debatable if it's had an empire. I would say yes, I think it's had an empire. Because, it owned Norway, Sweden, it owned parts of Sweden, Norway, Iceland, the Faroe Islands, Greenland. I think it owned parts of Germany and the United Kingdom. But today we're going to be buffing them. Their navy, their military, everything's going to be buffed. Still debating if I'm going to include Greenland or not. Not sure. But where is Denmark going to attack first? Because, yes, they have a pretty alright navy, but it's not exactly a navy that can go on a long distance trip. So they can't really attack Iceland. So where are they going to go? Well, they're going to have to be smart. Their first target, and it's going to be a country they used to own, is going to be Norway. And this is going to make Sweden rightfully mad, because they don't want Denmark to be expanding near them. But, deal with it. It's Denmark's Empire video. Danish troops will land right... That's too big. Danish troops will land right by Oslo, as well as another landing we made here. And they will begin to push up towards Oslo as they try to encircle it. However, the Norwegian armies will hold them back. But they will slowly but surely begin to put more and more troops into this area. Eventually encircling Oslo. Not capturing it like that. But from here, Denmark is going to continue to capture the coast of Norway, as this is like the most valuable parts of Norway. And also Norway's oil rich, so this is going to be really, really beneficial war. After taking out most of the populated areas, they don't really move into the mountains because there's no point. But after invading for quite a bit, they are finally able to take Oslo, and from here, Norway is going to surrender. Let's hope for the best for Norway. In the peace treaty, we can see that Denmark will annex all the very valuable areas of Norway, leaving Norway to, their Panhandle and Svalbard. And, sorry, but there's no way this thing's going to be able to function as a country. So, but only about a week after being invaded, Norway will decide to just unite with Sweden, because, again, they're not going to survive. Look at them, they're not going to survive. There's nothing they can really... I mean, they have oil, I guess, but, that's not going to be something that can fuel your entire country. However, Norway will now be integrated into Sweden, and Sweden is now, I'm looking at Denmark seriously, you just invaded one of my neighbours and you're going to probably continue expanding. But no, they're not going to be expanding in, no, they won't be expanding in Scandinavia. They'll be attacking Iceland, a country they used to own. This is going to be extremely easy, as, Iceland has no military. So, yeah. They take over Reykjavik. Shocking, I can't believe it's not Husavik, but it's called Reykjavik. But, yeah. I don't need to show this war. They take over the capital and then really just take it over from there. And Iceland is fully annexed into the Danish Empire. From here, Greenland becomes red, as Greenland is fully integrated into Denmark. They have very little autonomy now. So after filling in all the white spots, we can see that, Denmark has just taken over Greenland. Well, they owned it, but they've integrated it fully now. The USA might be a little bit mad, and they might be planning an invasion, but we're not going to focus on that in this video. But now where? Denmark's kind of stuck. The UK, very powerful country, would not recommend invading. Sweden, you're probably on about the same level, if not weaker than Sweden. Germany, powerful country, do not invade. Poland, powerful country, do not invade. And then there's the Dutch, who, they're capable, but, you can always give them a run for their money, so the Danish will now invade the Dutch. Without a doubt, this is going to be the hardest war yet, because, well, the Dutch, I feel like people underestimate how powerful the Netherlands are. Troops will land in the, Troops will land in the north and begin moving down into the Netherlands, and yes, without a doubt, it's the hardest war yet, as they're losing tons of troops. They'll take over this area and begin moving towards Amsterdam and Rotterdam. They will cut the Netherlands into two, trapping a bunch of troops over here who are going to hold out. And we eventually see the Danish get towards Rotterdam and Amsterdam, where they lose tons of troops. Eventually Rotterdam is captured, and the final holdout is Amsterdam, but eventually Amsterdam will be captured, and we can see a peace treaty between the Danish and the Dutch. In the peace treaty, we can see that, Denmark takes a big chunk out of the Netherlands, and the Netherlands is probably really hurt from this. So, they're gonna try and survive, however, they might end up uniting with Germany, as they're kind of done for. But, now where? Well, there really isn't anywhere. Like, Belgium, yeah, but you don't really border them, and that would be really interesting to have kind of like an exclave bordering France. So where does Denmark go? Well, they're gonna go silent for a couple of, maybe like a couple years. And in those couple years, they ramp up their military, they ramp up everything, their economy goes through the roof. And, it's kind of obvious what they're planning, but, if you don't know what they're planning, yep, the ancient rivalry will start up again. Denmark versus Sweden. Now, this is going to get a ton of backlash from the world. Even, like, they probably got backlash from, like, the Netherlands, invading the Netherlands, but, like, some people are going to be mad, such as Germany, who will join the war on the side of Sweden. This was not part of the plan. Denmark was about to start invading Sweden and did not think Germany was going to join this war. However, Denmark has some plans, have had some aces up their sleeves, because they've been also working on relations, if you can't tell. Now, who are those countries they've been working on relations with? Poland and France. Yep. France and Poland might still want revenge from World War II, but yikes, that's not good. The UK is not going to get involved in this war. They ain't bothered. They ain't doing it. Anyway, time to see Germany and Sweden get absolutely destroyed by some really powerful countries. Danish troops will move out, capturing Malmo from Copenhagen. And this is going to be the main front line, because they want to make sure Copenhagen's not captured. But meanwhile, in the south, Germany's going to begin taking over land, and a lot of land. And they begin invading to the Netherlands, who, you wouldn't believe it, is going to get involved in this war. The Netherlands, even though they're kind of exhausted of war, will join the war on the side of the Sweden and Germany, in hopes of, being Germany, obviously. Poland will begin to invade Germany from here. However, they're not gonna get far because Berlin's right here. Troops from Norway will exit out and begin capturing land, and will begin to start cutting off Sweden from the sea, the Baltic Sea, and that's not good. Well, I don't actually know what this is called. Sweden will eventually get their stuff together and begin fighting back. However, it's kind of a bit late. Because, yeah, you know, France is in this war and all that, but they're going to try and take out Denmark, because, you know, Denmark's probably the weakest country in this war, shockingly, actually. They're the Empire, and they're the weakest country in this war. But, let's take a look at what France is doing. Oh. Okay. So, yeah, France is doing a reverse Germany World War II tactic, and World War One. Jesus Christ. French troops will move out from, move into Belgium, move straight into the Netherlands, capitulating all three of these countries within a couple of weeks. And from here, well, Germany was not expecting this. They asked Belgium to join the war, but, yeah, they weren't expecting this. Tons of French troops are beginning to move out into Germany, and this whole offensive over here is pushed back. So much for that. And this offensive here, well, it's stalemated. And Sweden is now panicking, because, this war is about to turn back. Why is Czechia in the war? Czechia, you're not in the war. Get out of the war. Get out of the war, you're not involved. Sweden, seeing that Germany is now getting clapped, is going to try and, take out Denmark. So they're going to try and push back Denmark, however, it kind of fails. And then they try and push back in Norway, which goes better, but they don't push into Norway. But this is not good, because what's not good? Well, Germany's getting absolutely destroyed by France. And France is just linked... France is just linked up with, Danish troops in, Denmark. And they're now sending troops to Sweden. So, that's not good. When those French troops arrive, Sweden is absolutely demolished. Am I maybe overglazing France and Poland and Denmark? Yes, do I care? No. It's Denmark's Empire video, of course they're going to win. Poland will now get even closer to Berlin, however they will fail to capture it. But you know what else is happening? Hamburg and Frankfurt being captured, which, that's going to destroy the entire German economy, because, those two cities are, like, heavily, those two cities, like, really help Germany. And at this point, France is beginning to push over towards Berlin, however, this, little thing's going to fail. And, Bavaria just declared its independence. Oh. Yeah, Germany's kind of collapsing, and Sweden's just looking at this, like, blur. After troops continue to move into Sweden, and there's obviously no pushback, and Germany's continuing to fold like a cheap, and seeing that Germany's continuing to fold like a cheap plastic chair, Sweden's just going to be like, you know what, take the land you want, Denmark, we're out this war. And Germany's like, bro. So Germany's going to be like, hey UK, want to get involved in this war? And the UK's like, nope, we got our own problems, we do not need to get involved in a war. And Germany's like, blah. And, Denmark wins their war against Sweden. Let's take a look at this peace treaty. Taking a look at this peace treaty, we can see that Germany is, well, they get destroyed. And Sweden, loses a lot of land, but, like, Sweden probably got lucky here, because they didn't lose that much compared to Germany. Denmark will be taking, basically, like, all the coast of Sweden. They still have Stockholm, and they still have all this land up here, which is, like, resourceful, so... Take it, like, you could have lost a lot more land. We also see, Denmark not fully annexing Netherlands. France takes a little bit for themselves. But yeah, they, take the rest of the Netherlands, except for a little bit. And also take a big bite out of Germany, which is definitely going to hurt Germany's economy, but deal with it. Poland probably gets the least out of this war, but, like, saying Germany made sure to not lose was Berlin. Because, yeah, they don't want to lose Berlin. That would be bad. So Poland's a little bit mad, because they think they should have got more land, but, you know, that's kind of the consequences of being right by Berlin. France is going to get a lot of land because they did a lot of the heavy lifting. They're going to get all of Belgium, all of Luxembourg, this little bit of the Netherlands, and a big chunk of Germany. That's a lot of land, and a lot of, like, really valuable land. And Bavaria is now independent again, so cool. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. Bit shorter, but whatever. That's what Denmark formed an empire, so I really hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.